Breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. San Diego Padres shortstop Fernando Tatis Jr., according to a source, could be out at least a few weeks and possibly looking at months if he needs surgery on his injured left shoulder. He suffered a partial dislocation last night swinging on a 2-2 pitch early in their game against the San Francisco Giants. You can see him there. Trainers had to come out and help him off. He is scheduled to go for an MRI on Tuesday, later today. And for more on this, what this could potentially mean for the Padres and for Major League Baseball and Tatis himself, let's now welcome in CBS Sports HQ baseball analyst Will Middlebrooks, the former Boston Red Sox player. Will, I'll start by asking you, he's going to be out at least a few weeks, according to what a source has told our Jim Bowden. What does this mean for the Padres at this point?
Well, at this point, we know how the NL West is built. Dodgers at the top, Padres, and then everyone else just kind of files in, behind them. All right, they're the two powerhouses in this league. We know that. I think they're going to be okay. I think their lineup is okay. I think with the Hosmer, I think Machado, Will Myers. They have Hosmer won NL Player of the Week to start the season. He's hitting just under 500 right now. I'm not seeing it very well. They'll be fine. They have great hitters. They have great pitching. They're going to be fine for a few weeks. Now, if he does require surgery, that's a different beast. All right. I still think they get to the playoffs as a wild card team, but this just changes their whole swag, their whole vibe as a team. He's one of their leaders. Yes, he's young. He's yet to play a full season. He's got 145, 46 games under his belt. But you sign a contract like that, the team trusts you. Your teammates trust you. They look to you as a leader regardless of your age. So this kind of hurts the vibe of that clubhouse a little bit.
How does it affect Tatis in terms of what it could mean for him possibly? I mean, he's had the shoulder discomfort during the preseason that we know about. He was kind of in and out a little bit as he dealt with some discomfort, but now it's a partial dislocation, possibly facing surgery. So for Tatis, what is he looking at with this, Will?
Yeah, so I've played with teammates with similar issues, with sublux of the shoulder joint. Now, he had this same shoulder. He had the issues in spring training with it. We don't know if it subluxed at all, if it came out. I think we would have known if it did because of how the severity of it last night. But the teammates I've played with, some of them have continued to play, and that shoulder joint is loose, apparently, and clearly. So it continues to happen randomly over time. You don't want that for your star player, for a player that you've invested that amount of money in. And then I've also played with guys who got it fixed, and it's a 4 to 6 month period where you're not playing baseball, and it's a tough rehab process. At his age, and this point in his contract, I think the responsible thing to do, if the damage is there to the labrum and the surrounding ligaments and the joint, the structure of the joint, get it fixed. You got to get it fixed, because why let this linger on for a year or two and then have to fix it down the road? Get it fixed now and move on.
Yeah, he's 22 years old, so I mean, there is certainly, he's young enough that he could get it fixed, and the Padres would obviously lose him for potentially a good portion of the season, but as you mentioned, then it would be fixed. So when you look at the position itself, not having Tatis at shortstop, what are the options there for the Padres?
We have a Swiss Army knife in Jurickson Profar who's able to play there. I played with him in Texas. He can play literally anywhere on the diamond you stick him. He can figure it out and be serviceable and above average. They have Kim, the guy they signed from overseas last year, who was in the Napon Baseball League. Great player. He filled in last night when he came out of the game. But I think Jurickson Profar has a good chance to play a good bit over there just because of how athletic he is. He's a switch hitter, which helps plugging him into the lineup.
4 errors in 5 games to start the season for Tatis Jr. He had 3 errors all of last year, so obviously there was something wrong, not necessarily 100%. And we've, as you mentioned, seen the shoulder bothering him throughout the preseason. If he doesn't opt for surgery, if he doesn't need surgery, Will, I mean, you're a former player. You know the power and strength that it takes when you get to the plate and swing. How much of an issue will this be long-term if he doesn't need surgery, if he opts not to get surgery at this point?
Yeah, it continues to be an issue. He could dive for a ball, it could pop out. He could reach for something in the top cabinet of his house, in his apartment, and it could pop out. That's the issue, is once the structure of that shoulder is compromised, it continues to be loose once the shoulder comes out of joint. That's the issue. And yes, the amount of force and strength it takes to swing a bat at the speed that he does and at the capability that he has, it's going to happen again. And this is going to be something that lingers and lingers and lingers. Did this have something to do with his errors? Maybe. Maybe it was bothering him beforehand. Maybe not, because believe it or not, he's still human. Maybe he just had a tough few days at shortstop, made some errors.
All right, our Will Middlebrooks joining us to talk about Fernando Tatis. Sources told our Jim Bowden that Tatis is looking at a few weeks out if he does not have to have surgery. Will, thanks very much. Great stuff as always. In terms of the NL West, what does this mean for the Padres? Well, I mean, right now, plus 250 to win the NL West. The Dodgers, of course, as Will mentioned, the heavy favorites to win the division at minus 380. Then it's the Diamondbacks, Giants, and the Rockies. We're going to take a 1-minute break here on CBS Sports HQ. When we come back, we'll talk about the fantasy angle of Tatis being out for at least a few weeks with our Chris Towers. Stay with us.